Hello everyone, welcome to June 19 Zeam call. Today we will discuss DevNet 5 updates and the progress that we are making in resolving the issues that we are seeing, as well as in running the cross-client DevNets for DevNet 5, as well as our own all Zeam long-running DevNet 5. So let's start with Partha on this.
So last week, I've been mostly focused on getting the Zig libp2p version ready and testing the interop with Zeam. Managed to test the interop with one Rust client, one C, and Go as well. It's working well, and justification and finalization is happening properly. Managed to test this locally. I've been waiting for, I spoke to Kai. He's doing the shadow testing on that server. He said he will test using my image. Once he finishes his bit of testing for shadow sims, I can probably run a multi-subnet testing there on that server. Um, the question is more for you, Gajendra, or should we wait and do a proper test across the EF servers itself? We'll merge the thing probably later today if you're satisfied, and we can probably proceed with that.
Yeah, so last time I tested libp2p branch, I basically shared you some issues. Were those
Yeah,
resolved?
those issues have been addressed. And now, if you sim test works locally as well. And yeah, I couldn't see any other issues, but
I mean,
I haven't
sim test,
tested a multi
sim
subnet.
test, as I told, it does not runs on the mock network, so it is not.
Yeah,
s- So you could, although update the sim test flag to not use the mock network.
mock. Yeah.
So did you run the sim test or did you run the beam sim? Because sim test just run the beam sim, and that is what
I've done
prompted
both.
you to.
Yeah, I've tested both, and I also tested a local DevNet with ETH Lambda and Lantern. Left it running for over 12 hours, and there was no issue. Everything was progressing well. But I understand Kai has been testing my image since yesterday, so if he has further updates, probably he'll give during his call. The yeah. Also, I haven't tested the blockbash image on DevNet server yet because I was waiting for Anshul's one PR improvement PR on the block production to go live. Once that does, there were some comments I had on his PR which I think he's addressed today. Once that PR is merged, I'll run a complete interop on the servers, probably with the 3 clients that are stable right now, and then share updates before the next call. But yeah, this is my update. Hopefully by Monday, Tuesday next week, we'll have at least a release candidate version of Zig lib P2P ready, and we can then officially announce it also if required.
Right. So I was running that branch itself on that shadow server that I shared with you guys. And
Yeah.
so basically, we can, even though Anshul's PR is not merged yet, we can basically test it out because it does the block production in time. And that is why my emphasis is on
Okay.
using that server to make sure that everything else is okay, because it takes zero point 0.5 to 0.6 second on an average to do block production, which basically happens inside the interval itself.
Okay.
So, so basically use that server to test out everything else that you want to figure out, right?
All right, I'll do that. As soon as Kai has confirmed that he has finished his Shadow Sims testing, I can do it. I don't want to interrupt his testing, but so I can do that.
So guys, I think guys no more running shadow sims right now is what I feel, what I see over there, and I'm trying to run your latest branch, do a beam sim on that to basically see what's happening on the P2P front.
Okay.
And things look good to me because 90% of the issues basically Beam Sim throws up, right? So
Yeah.
if you, and it's not that congested to basically understand what's going on. So that is why that is my primary go-to testing route for the DevNet.
Yeah.
And if everything is working good, yes, then let's merge Zigbee P2B PR,
Okay.
and that will be awesome. Yes.
Yeah. Will do. Thank you.
Cool.
That's my update.
So on multi-client runs, you only tested with your Zigbee P2P version for DevNet 5.
That's right. But I could test it only with ETH Lambda and Lantern and Geen as well, because other clients like Ream and Grandin is not stable yet. They keep crashing on my local machine as well as on the server. So these are the clients that are stable at the moment.
So while we were talking, I started the run for your branch, and again, generally on BeamSim, I don't see ForkChoice split into two branches on this particular server because the block production is supposedly happening on time.
Cool. Okay.
So I am still seeing two branches. So basically, we need to investigate what is going on.
Okay.
So, so
I'll,
can
yeah,
you go to that server and add slash
I'll test
mnt
that out.
data Zeam repo? I already basically,
Okay.
you can just run the beam command over there. I already built, and it should all be okay. Should already set
All
up.
right.
So
I'll do that.
just share you the path. Uh, so this is the path at which you'll find the Zeam repo with the compiled
Okay.
uh, code, and one export you will also need. Let me share that as well. Unless Zig is already available in the path, maybe Kai has made available Zig by default in the path. But if it's not, then basically if you do this, then you will get Zig available in the path.
Okay.
Okay. So on the scaling front, even without other clients, I'm basically all Zeem. I want to run
Yep.
as big as DevNet we can run, right? So I'm not sure that whether Zigbee P2P issue you will be able to resolve at what point, but can we start our run even without Zigbee P2P on main,
Yeah.
uh, on it for all Zeem nodes, whatever largest uh, network that we can put on it?
Okay,
Because
I mean, I can redo the same thing I did before. 32 nodes, 4 subnets, and all Zeem clients. I can leave it running probably for 24 hours or
right,
longer, and see how it goes.
right. Let's do that. Proposal, only one proposes at a time, so that should not be a problem. That the scaling of the network should not cause any bottleneck over there, because there is only one
Hmm.
proposer, and there will be only one split, only one merge
Yep.
proof. So, but yes, if we are running shadow sim, then it won't be possible, because
Mhm.
I also tried running it with shadow sims, but then uh, the proposals were not happening in time. Basically, block proof was going till 1.3 seconds. So, I think, yeah, we'll need to run it without shadow sims, and without shadow sims, and just again, it's 0.5 second average for merge proof.
Okay.
Yes, Sky, over to you now. Anyway,
Yes. So uh, it seems for the current code for mock uh, mock the application and merge, uh, it seems a bug. So I also checked the log with Shadowrun, and it seems that the time is not. just equal the mocha sleep. So I think I'm trying to add mock. I'm doing that. Once I can test it if it's correct. Maybe so maybe we can get the correct testing with shadow. So
Okay, so when we last chatted, we talked about mocking about half or 1/8 or 1/4 of the
yeah,
actual time consumption. So you are saying that we still need to do that after making changes.
yeah. So I already tested that. So but but the so I think the current result maybe not uh, uh, maybe not correct. So right now uh, I get the results that one uh, 100 millisecond for one attestation proof merge uh, is good. Uh, so when we switch to 125, so uh, the network will stop. But I think there is a bug, so maybe the result not correct right now.
So have you identified this bug or you need to figure this out?
Uh, I think identity is a bug. So it even in shadow it seems it add the real proof time right now.
Okay, so we need to figure this out then, right?
Yes, yes. I already uh, do the patch.
Okay, so you made a patch and now you need to try it out.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so before you rerun Shadow, start running in Shadow Sims, I think let's Partha run a bit network on it so that we get some idea of how things are happening even when we are running the real network. Because even for the merge proof, even on the normal, if I'm running beam sim, right, it seems like it's just 0.4 0.5 seconds. So I'm not sure
Okay.
what actual timing is getting added in the shadow sim, right? So yes, we need to figure that out. But even the normal network on this machine should be possible.
Okay.
I can just start a run on the main for the beam sim so that we'll see how long it goes. Okay, so the plan is that we do normal network tests on it using all Zeam nodes, and then we switch back again to Shadow.
Okay.
And were you able to have an opportunity to start looking into the Hive repo? Okay.
Yeah. Yes. So what need? So just look at the code and how to know how it's really work. So what
So
others I
what
need
we
to
need is basically if we need to start adding tests to it, right? So we should be able to do that. We should be able to add tests. We should be able to orchestrate Hive runs, and in general, we should know a little bit about its working, how it's working, and so having a little bit of insight into how it's working will help us, right?
okay.
So we don't right now need to fully understand the code. We just need to understand how it runs the test and how we can add more tests to it. And in
Okay.
fact, let's also do some PRs to add tests to the Hive repo, right? So for DevNet 5. So let's do some tests. Let's add some tests into the Hive for DevNet 5.
Okay.
And maybe and Part and Partha, maybe you can uh, tell Kai, help him what kind of test we should add. So
To Hive,
basically,
yeah. Okay.
yeah, into Hive, yeah. So let's add a few tests so that we also get well versant with the Hive.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's switch to Anchal.
Yeah, so like mostly I was going through the other PI that Lambda team has raised and the thing that they were trying to do. So I had suggested like a couple of things in that PR, and um, I have implemented it Zeam it that in Zeam as well, along with like other metrics stuff and logging stuff. So metrics and logging was like pushed earlier this week. Uh, the interval 4 aggregation of type 1 proofs, uh, along with the changes that Lambda team has proposed, will go today. So I have like already pushed those changes on my branch. There are some merge conflicts that I'm trying to resolve. As soon as I do that, I'll ask you and Partha to review it, and I think then we can go forward with it. So yeah,
So
that's
some
pretty
of
much.
the changes that I believe that Lambda team is proposing are not totally resolving the issue. They are just like
Yeah.
I don't know, some
So I
patchwork. So
don't agree with the change that they have
why are we
pushed
not
today.
why are we not basically commenting on those PRs, and why are we not blocking them? Because if it's not solving the basic problems, we are just generating work for everyone as well as having a spec that doesn't work, right? So I don't understand why we are not basically out there and making sure that the spec is right and correct.
Yeah, so the change that they have proposed yesterday or day before yesterday, I think that is good to have. That will help us. The change that they have proposed today, so I don't understand how it will help us. So I thought about looking into that more deeply and then commenting on that.
So
But the
even the
change,
chain that was proposed day before yesterday, I think it was a PR that we merged, and it was about making sure that we only move justified when basically the head is switched to that particular block, right? Is that the PR you're talking about?
no, I'm talking about attestation selection based on attestation data selection based on either finalized, justified, or just block building. So the tiered approach that they haven't proposed. So in that, like how the attestation selection we used to do was, it was based on the number of votes that a particular attestation has achieved, attestation data has achieved. So we were simply selecting the one that had like the maximum number of votes. What they have proposed instead is, and at that time, like we were just making the selection based on the source as our latest justified. What they have proposed is that we should select attestation data that can help the current latest justified either be finalized, or if that is not possible, then we should select attestation data that can at least help us move latest justified ahead. So
So that
basically, the
if
source.
you have sources latest justified, that is what it does, right? You need
No,
to,
but
of course, you need to make sure that, so you can't have, so you can't have source anything as else than latest justified. That is that all other votes are bad. Basically, those are not the correct votes, right?
no. So I don't really remember when this was updated, but as per latest respect, uh, we can have source which is not latest justified. It has to be more than latest finalized, but it can be anywhere between latest finalized and latest justified. So
Yeah, because there was another PR that again ETH Lambda did for the
yeah,
same thing, and again I don't agree to it actually.
uh,
If the votes are, if you are on a round where not everyone is agreeing to a source, that is a problem, right? Why would you pick someone's source which is behind your latest justified?
so it depends. Like if
You need to
it,
pick up the available chain that is not available chain, right? So your latest justified say is your available chain, and I don't basically, so we, so that's what I'm saying. Whatever ETH Lambda team is doing, all these things that they are doing, and it's causing a mess, and I'm not, why are we just consuming it like that, right? Why are we not critically reviewing it, whether it's even a correct change or not?
no, so I think like it is fine if the source is not our latest justified, as long as it's like ahead of latest finalized. Because it might be the case that we are just at a particular. So it is like, I understand why you are saying that, because it mostly means that the other chain is has not really seen those set of votes, and they are in a minority folk, and we are moving backwards towards them, right? Because
So
if we have
when
gotten a
you
particular.
so we, so if their source, so if you have target which is ahead of your latest justified, then it is possible that you can justify a new, something new which is ahead. But I'm not sure whether we should have those votes, we should pack those votes that don't agree with us, because if their source, either their source is ahead of our latest justified, that means we are behind, right?
Hmm,
Then probably the right thing to do is to sync the chain
yeah.
and build on top of that, right? And if their source is behind us, that means they are behind, right? So I'm not sure that if we should basically just consider those votes or not. But I guess, so I saw that PR, and it was okay in the sense that it passes state transition function, because state transition function also does not strictly enforce latest justified being a source, as long as, so state transition function does not enforce it, but there is a fork choice that we need to follow, right? So which is not
Yeah.
enforced in state transition function. So these are two separately uh, operating mechanisms that basically agree, and then things move forward.
But I'm thinking like if we have already justified a particular block, in that case, it means like we have already received two-thirds of the vote via when via like other blocks. And if some other uh, validator is proposing a source that is less than that, it technically means they are not synced up enough.
Yep.
So uh, does it even
Yeah, but
make sense to get it? Because uh, now that I think of, so their tiered justification is based on the fact that they'll be prioritizing finalization forward, which will be only possible when the source matches our latest justified. If that is not the case, they'll prioritize a new justification, that is only possible if there's an equivocation. Because uh, if you have already verified justified a particular block, and they have an attestation data that doesn't match that, it is basically behind that particular latest justified block, and still they are able to move justification ahead.
Yeah, so that is how are
That is
they
a
able to?
condition that a particular set of validators have voted on different set of attestation data. Maybe I can draw it out.
I mean,
Um,
it's okay. The point is that if those votes are there, it doesn't hurt because state transition function accepts it, but I would not prioritize it, right? So I would prioritize what is matching with my local for choice as a first thing. So what is our block building priority? Because we have been over this, and I think we discussed about this as well, that what is the priority that we are building on. And we basically need to figure out whether ETH lambda's priority is a correct priority to go with, or if our priority is a correct priority to go with. So what is the way that we are prioritizing? Obviously, it is not going to be. So if you are justified, you have a source with a justified, right? You will try to pack the maximum amount of votes that will move that justification forward. So our strategy of saying that if that attestation data source is data justified, and we are packing the attestations that are moving forward, that is basically the fixed point computation that happens in the vote packing, that you basically choose the attestations that will move it. If you can't move it, then basically you can't add any other votes, right? This was the original algorithm, what I remember, from 3SF Mini. So in this algorithm, basically your priority is anyway choosing the attestation data whose source matches with your latest justified. But the problem there, I think, is that which case ETH lambda's PR would make sense, is that your latest justified is on a parallel branch, right?
Yes,
And
a
and
parallel
your
branch.
head does not has your head's latest justified is behind, right? So you need to pack the votes from heads latest justified and make sure that you go way past your side branch latest justified, because otherwise your proposal will fail because you are behind.
So how can so when I talk about latest justified, it's like the state of latest justified. It's not of the store's latest justified. So if my state says that a particular block has been latest justified, then I have already received two-thirds of the vote on that.
Yes, but your store's latest justified will could be ahead of it. That is the way we update it.
Yeah.
Just but after Kai's PR, that the change that he made the change that the head, if a block does not become a head, for example, you got some series of blocks,
Hmm.
but if in the fork choice they don't become a head, then you don't update your store's latest justified. So your store's latest justified is like a global latest justified, and after this PR, that doesn't hold anymore true.
Yeah.
Now, question is that why did we need that PR, and is that PR correct or not? Because as per ETH Lambda's message in the channel, it seems like that PR is not working. That PR is not resolving the issue. So question is, what issue are they trying to resolve? What is the scenario, and what is the correct way to resolve it? Right? All these seems like patches that we don't want. We want the correct solution. The correct solution could be to split the attestations out of the block proof and pack it to your head branch, right? So
Yeah.
what is the correct solution? Because if a side branch is moving latest justified or finalized ahead of your head, that means it packed it packed two-thirds of it packed some attestations that were about majority of the network, right?
Hmm.
So majority of the network considered that particular branch uh, as the canonical branch, because that means the head is always down the justification, right? So its head was the one that should have been your current head, right? Why it's not that? So we need to ask this question: Can it even happen that the side branch has higher latest justified? I don't think it can happen. And if it's happening, then that means you are behind or you are in the minority branch, right?
Yeah.
So there was this particular example that from a build where these things were happening, where the head was not on the same as the side branch, right? So we need to look at the example and see what exactly is happening and why is that is happening, and what is the correct resolution for that.
Sure, I'll look into that again, and then
Yeah,
uh
do you remember the example which
yeah,
created the need for repacking, right?
yeah, I remember that.
So let's look at that example again and let's figure out why this is happening, because I don't understand if a side branch has justified something, then why is it switching the branch, right? So branch switching can happen for sure, I think, because finalized is the only point where we say that finalized won't change, and we allow latest justified to change, but we need to figure that point out. Why do we allow latest justified to change? And the only reason that I can think of is that most of the network goes down, right? So only there are only few nodes left. So it's like, again, what is the available chain? And the available chain is not the chain that justified it.
Yeah.
So there are only minority of nodes that are up and they are trying to move ahead, and they are not on that chain. And that is the only reason that there you would switch, some chain would try to switch latest justified. So we basically need to dig into this entire reasoning, and I also need to think a bit more on
True, but
this.
even if the majority of the chain is down, they won't have one third or two thirds of the vote to switch the.
No, so for example, you had a majority of the chain which voted in one particular direction, right? Which voted on a branch that, and that all those majority validators are down, right?
Okay.
So they justified and they went down. Let's
Hmm.
say all that stake was controlled by some particular entity, and let's say that data center crashed down, right?
Okay.
So only now a minority of the chain which was not on that chain is online. So availability protocols will are there to basically make sure that that particular chain can keep on moving, can keep on building, and that is where there will be switch in latest justified, right? But we need to basically figure that out, what exactly is that scenario and why is that happening, and what is the right resolution to it.
Uh, I think I lost you in between. Can you please repeat? So you were saying that suppose a center crashed and two thirds of the nodes were there in that particular data center, and then like we got like the remaining number of minority nodes continue to build upon a side chain.
Yeah, let's say those nodes went down and there's no one to serve up those blocks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you are there, you have to now propose, so you will basically start proposing. But if you never saw those blocks, you won't have this problem in your fork choice that the side branch letter justified is greater than your head's letter justified. Yeah. So basically, let's figure out why what is the
No,
scenario
no,
in
no.
which this
So,
will happen.
so even in that case, I'll continue to propose on my side branch, but I will never be able to justify that branch or move finalization in the branch because I won't receive votes from two-thirds of the validators because that data center has already crashed.
Yeah. So availability protocol is about two-thirds of the available vote, but yes, this is not availability protocol. 3SF is not availability protocol. So
Yeah, that would have been true in case of goldfish, but it should not be true in 3SF.
yeah, so we need to figure out what is the problem that they are trying to solve. We are not even sure why that PR was even created, right?
Hmm.
So
Right.
so Kai raised his hand. Maybe he has some idea about that.
Yeah. Yes, I think so. Uh, so I think this uh there should be a problem in, because I and the Islam the team uh found found the DevNet store. So I think it can be reproduced. Yeah, why I submit that PR because I remember I ran 32 nodes for subnets test and and meet that issue. So
So
maybe
instead of reproducing that issue, Kai, can you basically write the sequence? For example, I mean, reproducing that issue basically means there is a lot of other logs and context that is out there. But for example, if you can just draw it, on a piece of paper and tell us why that particular issue happened, I think that would be more insightful for us to understand what's happening.
yes.
So if you can draw and you can basically say is that then this happens and then chain looks like this and then this happens, and that's why we are on ahead whose latest justified doesn't match stores latest justified, right? So if we can have, you just draw it on a piece of paper, click it, and share us on the group, I think that will help us understand what the issue is. And then once we look at that, basically then we look at what ETH Lambda team has been saying, is saying currently on DevNet 5 channel, that that PR did not resolve it. I think that is what they are talking about.
Mm.
So when will you be able to share us this particular, drawn snapshot so that we can take a look into it?
Um, I need to find because maybe I already uh run several times the 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 log. Maybe
So
the log.
we don't need the exact log. You can intuitively draw that this is what is happening, right? We don't need the exact log. We just need to understand the scenario.
Yeah. Okay. So I also look into the source uh which is Lambda make that PR. They use
Did we add any tests regarding that? Because I think if we added a test, then uh, basically test is what was describing this particular scenario, right?
yes, we have we have
So can you
we have
share that test? Can you share that
it,
particular test and then we can look into it? Can you
it,
share the GitHub link of that particular test lines so we can understand what is exactly in a scenario that is happening? Because again, it's very weird that a side branch has moved that it has justified and your head is not moving to that side branch, right? So we want to figure out what is the reasoning for that.
Yes, I think in the Spike PR there are we already had tests.
Yes. So can you just share the link for that again? I guess in the channel. Okay. So Anshul, please look into this because I mean we need to figure out what why this is happening because it seems like it shouldn't be happening because we don't have an availability protocol, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so actually I have a question. So I think the latest Islam das PRs actually make the source same with the beacon beacon chain. As in beacon chain use that header status. So I, I'm not I'm not quite sure why beacon and the 3SF uh the so the source should be same or not. So their PR use the beacon chains approach.
So I so beacon chains approach is actually quite different in the sense that beacon chains fork choice is a bit more complicated, right? So they
Yeah,
look at
but the source, but this particular PR they use the same way with beacon chain. Beacon chain, I just checked that yesterday. It used the header status uh the latest justify.
so latest justified is how we were doing it earlier, right?
Um, no, we earlier we used the store the latest justify in store.
So obviously we need to use the heads latest justified, but we need to move past stores latest justified as well. That is what I'm saying. So that is fine to use heads latest justified because you are building on a head. Of course, the votes needs to go from its source, right? But now you also need to cross the stores latest justified. You can't basically have, so you need to keep adding the votes to make sure that you have packaged all the votes that the site branch justified, right? And that is where the splitting of the vote things should come. That we should be able to split out the votes from the site branch and to be able to add it. And since each time we add a block into the fork choice, we add its attestations, right? So at any given point, your fork choice should be able to reflect all those votes that are out there. So if they are not there inside your fork choice, that means there's some problem that is going on, right? There is some bug in the client or there is some bug in the spec, right? So we need to figure it out what exactly is happening and why is it happening. We should not accept PRs just as it is because a client team proposed it. We need to question why they propose it and what is the thing that they are trying to solve.
Yes.
Okay, share that PR on the channel, Kai, and then we'll move forward. Anshul, you have anything else to add?
Oh no, I'll also look into this because I think I remember what was happening earlier when we were justifying a particular block using like votes of two different branches, but I'll think it through and then discuss it with you tomorrow.
Yeah, so it is so there is a head, right? If you are building on that particular head, you obviously need to make sure that the votes that you are picking first matches with the latest justified of that head. But you also then need to make sure that you are able to go past stores latest justified, which could be ahead of the heads latest justified, right?
Yeah.
And and that is basically the right way to think about it. And since you have the site branch, you should be able to pack those attestations into it.
Right.
That is so. This is when your head is head is not on the same chain as some other side chain which moved finalization and justification. But again, the question is that why is that even happening, right? So that is the question we also need to address. That why did a side chain's justification slash finalization moved ahead, and we are still on the same old head? Because if finalization and justification moved ahead on a side chain, that means two-thirds of the majority also voted on a head that was on the side chain, right? So why are we not on that chain? If we added those blocks, our head should switch.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Anything else? Nupur, do you have
No,
any
nothing
update?
from my side.
My update is I have been looking at DevNet 5 runs, Beam Sim, some of the Shadow Sims, and have also tried running the newly P2B branch. And I will continue looking into them as well as figuring out this justification slash finalization issue and the PRs regarding that.
Okay, so I am right
And
now holding off my changes. I'll first like get complete sense of why in the first place we allowed moving past the current justified thing, and then we can like I can redo the branch.
yes, because I mean, repacking the boards basically that makes sense. But again, yes,
Yeah, but we moved this even before DevNet 5.
yes, that is true. But again, I mean, I didn't put much thought into it at that time. But now I'm thinking, okay, what is the exact scenario when this is happening? Because I was thinking that, okay, you have availability protocol and maybe the majority chain goes down. But again, we don't have an availability protocol here, so that should not be a problem.
Yeah, I also didn't think it through because I thought that we'll be replacing it altogether. But since we are continuing with it for now, then I think I should give it a thought.
Yeah, yeah. So for the stability of DevNet 5 last skill network, and even if we launch public DevNet, we basically need to figure this out. And in general, also we should figure this out because we should understand fork choice very deeply, right? Because
Yeah.
that is one of the critical elements to make sure that uh, spec is correct, to make sure the nodes are stable and robust. So
Yeah.
we definitely need all the insight that we can get on fork choice. And that and because of all this thing, it is not really a simple problem. As you can see, it's hard to
Yeah.
think about scenarios, hard to visualize, and hard to also basically implement the solutions.
Hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
So
I'll give it a thought and let's discuss it again maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow.
awesome. All right. So that brings us to the close of today's call. Anyone else wants to add anything?
Uh, Last week when we spoke, you wanted us to fill up certain proposals for what's that thing within
Yeah,
the EFP, right?
EIP, yeah, or
Yeah,
EPF.
EPF and EIP both. So I think the first EIP Anshul has submitted. The other one is on the key store, which hopefully I'll have it over the weekend. For
Yeah.
EPF, do we still proceed with that? Execution layer integration stuff, and how do you
Yes,
want that?
yes, we can do that. We can add that as a project, and if someone can basically not tester us and do it independently, that will be great.
Okay.
I mean, it's
Fine.
ideally a project that is well defined. It's not
Yeah.
really a research. It's just normal execution, API integration, and integration
I
of the
think
statuses
we
into the
already had one
formulas.
issue, right, on GitHub. I'm not sure if you've closed it, but I remember seeing one on Engine API. The last year, I think in August or October, there was one issue that probably Nupur created. I'd have to
Yes, there
just
is an issue, but like no work has been done on it. So it was just an idea at that point of time.
okay. I think we can just
So
elaborate on the same thing and add it for EPF.
yeah, we can do that, or we can close the issue and open a new one, I guess.
Okay, that's fine then.
Also, Gajendra, like for AIP 8292, like, do you want me to do any modifications there? Because again, it is a bit open ended, but the things that O mentioned about adding those will be like quite dynamic. So, do we want to push it on the EIP right now, or maybe eventually when uh things are more stable, then we can add those matrix and stuff?
So I think we add what is the current proposal and then we keep updating it. I think that is a
Yeah,
better approach.
yeah,
Otherwise,
that's my
whoever
idea.
is looking at it will think that this is half baked, but whether they like the current approach or not, they should not think that it is half baked or not fully thought through.
Oh, so I should add those matrix.
Yes, it's better to add those and say that in a comment, say that, all these. So this approach is already being worked upon and is work in progress.
Hmm. Okay.
So with that disclaimer, you should be able to do that.
Hmm. Okay, I'll
So,
do that.
so when we are submitting an EIP, we should theoretically have a reference implementation. I'm asking specifically for this key store, post-quantum key store stuff.
No, we don't need to have a reference implementation.
Okay,
EIP can just be written even on the totally idea basis, right? There are many EIPs which are totally ideas,
okay,
which have not been implemented or there is no reference implementation. But when you are, for example, proposing for inclusion, then all these things matter.
I see. Okay, and I mean, you are the one who assigns the EIP number once we have a draft PR, or what
Yeah, I
happens?
think there are few people who assigns it. So if nobody is assigning you for a day or two, then I can assign it, right?
Okay, that's fine. And
Yes.
hopefully it should be ready. I'll send it for a first draft review to you, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah. So in the meantime, I started the Beam sim on the main branch, and I don't see any fork choice forking over there, and things justification and finality seems to be moving along fine. So
Okay.
so as such, I think. But again, on Lipi2B branch, there was I already could see some forking. So
Yeah,
I think
I
we
have
need
a
to figure
new
out.
commit. I'll test with that, and then
Okay.
I'll keep you updated.
All right. Cool. I'll stop that run for now so that whoever wants to use it can use it. All right,
Sounds
guys. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you on the next call on 26th June. And till then, have a good one.
good. You too. Bye.
Bye bye.
Done.
Bye.
Bye bye.